So how could your organization make experiences better for the end customer and also all stakeholders involved, your partners, your suppliers, your vendors who are working with you? Well, on ground reality, these are numbers from one of the recent 2020 reports. Almost 1 in 5 field technicians report dealing with accessible but inaccurate or completely inaccessible data, and almost 42% of field technicians spend more than an hour on administrative tasks. So these are actually direct costs to your company, which actually translate into the need to improve internal operations. And when we say need to improve internal operations, it is the need to automate and modernize service operations to meet the needs of the customers. And while these are high sounding words, it's really translating into something that's done completely manually at the present moment, is when you can actually automate it completely, build in step of logic, and get it done without any manual intervention as such. And now you must be thinking, well, this is going to be expensive, or this is going to be difficult, and I would need a specialized app in that case. And we will touch on how all of this can become very easy for your organization moving forward. So moving from a slow and manual systems to a streamlined mobile workflow for customers and employees is probably the key in this. And when we are talking about having a field service management solution in place, it's really to manage any incoming requests in your own channel, or even for third party aggregators, monitor availability for your technicians or your staff, prioritize tasks, boost overall efficiency and productivity, and in turn, allow your customers to reach out to you in a friction-free way, and to be able to express their unique needs and their unique personalized requests, which your organization would be helping them with. All right, looking inwards, of course, we've touched on the potential benefits of all of this, but you're really looking to streamline field operations, improve productivity of your staff, maintain KPIs with which you can actually help them understand the areas of improvement which they need. You will have timely reporting, which will, of course, in turn lead to better planning, and forecasting demand, field service demand, which will tell you that at this particular month of the year, or at this particular time of the day, is when you can expect the most number of incoming queries, and this is how you need to be able to be able to respond to them, which of course in turn translates into a superior customer experience. Please feel free to let us know in case you have any questions, because now what we are moving into the next part, which we are going to be telling you that it is not very expensive, or it is not very difficult for you to be able to build these solutions, either your own channel, which is going to be the customer facing element, or looking inwards, which is really looking at the organization which you have, which you're presently engaged with, and trying to improve the internal operations to be able to save costs as such. So how do you go about building such applications which help you grow your business? So the first thing that might probably come to your mind is custom development, or building a software ground up. And we all understand the potential challenges or the benefits that it has. You obviously understand the fact that if you were to build an application ground up, you can build it absolutely and customize it to your unique needs. You will have full control with that application, the kind of features you want to put in, the kind of updates you want to throw out to the application as time goes ahead, and which hopefully in turn will provide you with some kind of a competitive edge going into the future. On the other hand, building software, of course, has high upfront costs, because you're looking at hiring programmers and developers, apart from project managers and business analysts who will help you build this application. You're obviously looking at months of development time, and with the talent drought which we have in terms of skilled programmers, it might be some time before you find someone which is a proper fit for your programming needs as such. The other option, of course, is to buy software. You can look at solutions from the market, and you can really try and evaluate whether or not there could be some software which might fit into what your requirement is, or somewhere close to what your requirement is, and you can try and pick it up and try and use it to serve your customers better. But it gives you, of course, no or low upfront costs, because you're really picking it up off the shelf. And the deployment is relatively easy because it usually comes with some kind of a training or some kind of a manual, which makes it very easy to roll it out to either your internal employees or to external customers as such. Needless to say, buying or off the shelf purchase would have limited customization. And when I say limited customization, while you might have an opportunity to white label maybe the solution as such, there is only so much that you can do if you were to pick up a software off the shelf. And it is very, very limited to the features which you might want to include going into the future, or any of the upgrades which you might have unique to your organizational needs. You obviously have lower control, because you're buying it off the shelf, so it's already pre-configured, a lot of it. And you're talking about compatibility issues with your core systems as such. So when I say compatibility issues, it's probably that the off the shelf purchase might not really integrate with your existing core systems or your ERPs or any other accounting or HR related software, and which will eventually sit completely either outside or might have limited integrations, which might create issues in providing a seamless workflow as such. So these are some of the challenges with which buying a software include. Well, the third approach, I think, and this is why we're all here, is probably just to explore what this no-code approach is and how it might help organizations like yourself solve challenges around the issues that come with either buying a software or building it custom dev in a custom dev approach as such. But before we even get into this no code approach and really talk more about it, let's quickly take a step back and understand what really is no code, and why is everyone in the tech world talking so much about these no code platforms, and what kind of benefits they have, what kind of challenges do understand. And this will just help you maybe evaluate better whether it is something that might fit with your organizational needs as such. Please feel free to stop us in case you have any questions or any doubts. In case you feel there is you need more examples or you want me to slow down, please feel free uh, to share on the chat, or just unmute yourself and say. But the next part is going to be a little critical, so I'll need your full attention going forward on this. So what really is no code? All right. Forrester Research defines no code application development platforms as um, tools that enable rapid application delivery with no coding, quick setup, and deployment. And it sounds a little bit like magic, but it is what no code platforms really are. And it's really a tool to develop records or process apps graphically, and doing so without writing a single line of code. And you can probably see on the image on the right side of your screens is how an application is probably put together, or let's say assembled on a no code platform. It's as simple as a visual interface which would help you drag and drop different actors and be able to add a layer of automation as and when required. And we'll be touching a lot more on it as we go further. But what are some of the characteristics of low code platforms? One of them is visual development. I just touched on it. Instead of writing lines and lines of code and then going through a testing phase or removing bugs, what you do is you use either pre-built modules or templates which already your no code platform has, and you can simply drag and drop it into the interface to be able to build the solution which you want. It's an instant deployment, and when I say instant deployment, I'm really talking about it's as simple as clicking on publish, rather than going through lines of code and debugging the application, or trying to see whether or not there could be any features that are added. Most no code platforms come with either some kind of an integration bot, or some kind of API access, or maybe RPA tools which will help you integrate with your core systems. It could be old legacy systems which might not really communicate with any other systems presently, but no code makes it possible to be able to integrate all your existing applications to build a digital ecosystem for your organization as such. Reusability touches really on the fact that there are pre-built modules or templates which are actually reused across different applications, and it is as simple as using the drag and drop interface to be able to reuse parts of it. Security and scalability, we all understand that there are data privacy measures or different regulatory changes which come into this. So more often than not, all of these issues or all of these challenges would actually be the worry of the no code development platform, and not really your worry. So any application that you roll out would actually be compliant with any kind of global regulations or national regulations that you might be needing, or your application might be needing to follow. And understandably, you have enterprise grade security with each of these no code platforms. And when I say enterprise grade security, you mean it's absolutely inbuilt in terms of having a great data privacy strategy, or in case of having any kind of I would say scalability, which can actually, so today you're catering to say maybe 500 customers, and tomorrow as you grow your business or as you launch a unique campaign, you could actually be attracting 5 million customers, and it is absolutely scalable. So any of your the infrastructure or the database behind that will not crash or will not have any kind of latency issues as such. Omni-channel app development really talks about having one code base being deployed across different devices. So any app that you build using a no-code platform could actually be used either on your tablets or your mobile phones or even the web browser as such. Smart and connected. A lot of these applications which you're planning to build today might need future enhancements and improvements. There could be improvements in, say, blockchain technology or IoT or any of the other, I would say, emerging or frontier technologies which you might want to integrate with in your application going into the future. So having one of these no-code platforms build your application will make it very easy for you to integrate different elements of these frontier technologies going forward if you want to in the future. Some of the benefits you probably might have guessed is improved agility. You're looking at rolling out more applications in less time without any challenges of building it ground up or using it to debug or test or whatever it is. There is an element of improved agility. Accelerating with digital transformation, and when we really say that, a lot of companies have a core system or an ERP system in place already, but what really ends up happening is that that beyond that core, they don't really have maybe a department-wise, maybe I'd say a digital solution or a digital ecosystem which kind of connects with the core system as such and with all other employees. So if I am someone in your marketing team, and probably I might need say maybe an approval on some of the collaterals that I'm building, or maybe I might need to monitor my team's performance. All of that I can build it using a digital solution without having to get the IT team involved. It could be as simple as myself, a business user with no technical knowledge, assembling this solution and launching that app within my own department. So individually within your own departments, you're actually looking at launching a number of these digital solutions, which in turn will accelerate your digital transformation in the organization as such. Decreased cost, you're not looking at hiring expensive developers, not looking at building applications ground up. So there is an element of decreased cost. And of course, if you have a subscription to a no-code platform, you can launch unlimited apps within your subscription price. So the more number of apps you launch, the better ROI you will have for each of the applications that you launch using the platforms. Higher productivity. Again, you're launching more applications in less amount of time, and then that itself is a testament to the fact that you are able to prototype faster. You are able to produce more apps and be able to try and see whether there is something that will work with the market, whether there is something that your employees or your stakeholders would appreciate, and you can actually build it quickly in an interface very simply. Better customer experience. If your no code platform has is built on principles of design thinking, you're really looking at a better customer experience. And by design thinking, I'm talking about elements of customer persona, translating into a customer journey, which is then translated into prioritizing stages for different customer journeys, and then moving into an SDBP. So this is an entire flow. And while more often than not, a lot of organizations might not want to include it in their flow, if your platform has elements of design thinking embedded in it, you're actually looking at launching more customer centric or more human centric apps for your stakeholders as such. So this really translates into a better customer experience. And effective risk management and governance, I think I touched on it. Elements of changing privacy regulations or data privacy measures can actually be taken care of by the platform, and it's not you who has to be bothered about any of this as such. So let's quickly understand how does no code compare with custom development and off the shelf purchase, and let's really try and evaluate it across some of the parameters. All right. The cost of app development, we already touched on it. In case of no code, it's really basic or minimal, because it's just meant for the citizen developer as such, and you're actually either using pre-built templates or modifying those slightly to suit your need, and you're launching it out, compared to a custom dev, which is very expensive, or in case of an off-the-shelf purchase, which might be moderate to high cost as such. In terms of time required, it really depends on the kind of application that you intend to launch, but it could be from a couple of minutes to hours in case of a no-code development platform, versus in custom dev, it's probably years, if not I'd say months, if not years. And off the shelf purchase, of course, there is an element of a time requirement, because you get across to your IT team with maybe the requirements that you have, which they then evaluate with options available in the market. There's an entire budgeting exercise that goes in place before you kind of freeze on the solution you want. The technical skill set in no code application platform is actually minimal. It's for the use of the citizen developer. And while I mentioned it earlier, the citizen developer is really the business user in your organization. It's not someone who has a technical skill set, or it's not someone who understands the nuances of maybe Python or Java or any of this, but it's really someone who understands the processes in the organization, someone who works in the business field, and he can actually use his experience of working individually with these processes to be able to launch an application in the no code platform as such. Again, if compared to custom dev, it's very, very, very different. You need highly technically skilled programmers, and there is an element of translating the business requirements into the tech into the tech knowledge to be able to understand what features you might want to put in the application as such. And the application deployment is very easy in no code development platforms, really, because you make use of a lot of pre-built modules and templates which are already present. So no need to build things from ground up. Of course, there could be an element of customization, which is very easy to do on the applications which you eventually launch using the no code platforms. Maintenance, iteration, and versioning is very easy to iterate and add new features, like I mentioned, which is very, very difficult in custom dev or off-the-shelf purchase. It's not possible in off-the-shelf purchase. Fosters innovation, yes, because you're really looking at prototyping new applications. Just you have a great idea, you want to see whether or not it might find the kind of traction with the market, or whether how does your team or how your employees respond to that application as such. So if you're happy with it, you can add more features, add more bells and whistles, make it more user friendly. If the MVP does not make sense, you could actually shelf it off without any cost or any major loss of time. So it is definitely a huge, I would say, um, a push or a thrust to foster innovation within your organizations. And like we've touched before, no code development platforms do foster digital transformation goals. Once your core is in place, once you have um, uh, the key, I would say, ERP system in place, you can actually look at individually launching digital apps for either your individual departments or for your customer, different customer segments that you might want to work with. Um, with this, I'd quickly pass on the virtual floor to my colleague Ina. Ina is someone who's been working with me very closely on digital transformation initiatives with a number of companies, and she's also an expert at building customer-centric products because of her background in anthropology. And she's also one of the core team members of Steer platform, and extremely instrumental in where the platform is today. I think with this, I'd pass it on to Ina. One interesting thing about Ina is that she's not a technical person. She's not someone who knows coding, but the way she can use and launch applications using the Steer no-code platform shows the simplicity of the platform as such. With this, I'll pass it on to Ina. Thank you so much.